Chapter 6: Vows Beneath the Northern Lights. The school admissions brochure lay spread out on the dining table like a battleground neither parent could ignore. Lin Yu circled the best nearby public elementary school with a red marker, while Eric browsed international school websites on his iPad. 5-year-old Erica was playing with Legos on the floor, blissfully unaware she was about to become the focal point of her parents' cultural tug-of-war. Shanghai Experimental School has one of the top 3 admission rates in the city. Lin Yu pointed at the stats in the brochure. They start English in grade 1, plus they offer Math Olympiad prep classes. Eric frowned. Why does a 5-year-old need to study advanced math? In Sweden, kids don't even learn to read until 7. This is China, Lin Yu said, pressing the marker tip hard into the paper. Erica needs to adapt to the competitive environment. Why not an international school? Eric pulled up a page. This IB school offers a bilingual program and focuses more on creativity. Lin Yu glanced at the tuition and inhaled sharply. 200,000 yuan a year? Public schools are practically free. There's a reason it's expensive, Eric argued. At least she won't be doing homework until midnight every day. Suddenly, Erica looked up. What's homework? The question left them both silent. Lin Yu recalled her own childhood, staying up late copying characters, while Eric thought of his carefree days exploring forests. 2 completely different educational philosophies collided wordlessly in their Shanghai apartment. We should visit the schools in person, Lin Yu finally compromised. Then we can decide. First stop, Shanghai Experimental School. The tidy campus buzzed with order. First graders sat upright, reading aloud in perfect unison, none distracted, none fidgeting. The principal proudly showed off the wall of honors. Our students have won the city's math competition 5 years in a row. Eric crouched to look at the crafts on the classroom wall. 30 nearly identical paper rabbits lined up neatly. They were all told to make the same thing? He whispered to Lin Yu. It's called standardized training, she replied, though a flicker of discomfort stirred inside her. The international school was a world apart. Its hallways were filled with colorful, wildly different children's art. Inside the classroom, students sat in circles discussing topics. A blonde girl ran up and introduced herself to Erica in fluent Chinese. The 2 quickly became playmates. We encourage individualized learning, the admissions officer said with a smile. There are no standardized tests. Each child learns at their own pace. In the taxi home, Erica declared happily that she liked the school with lots of colors. Lin Yu stared out the window at the blur of the cityscape, conflicted. Rationally, she knew the international school fit Erica's personality better. But deep down, a voice warned her, if you give up on Chinese education now, your daughter may never truly understand or belong to Chinese culture. We could compromise, Eric said suddenly. Choose a bilingual private school that teaches the Chinese curriculum but also embraces Western teaching styles. Lin Yu was about to respond when her phone rang. The screen lit up. Home Ningbo. Her heart clenched. Yu, her father's voice was unusually urgent. Your mom had another stroke. This time it's more serious. The doctor says surgery may be needed. The hospital hallway seemed longer than Lin Yu remembered. Her heels clicked rapidly on the tiled floor. Eric followed close behind, carrying a half-asleep Erica. When she pushed open the hospital room door, she saw her mother lying under pale sheets, the right side of her face clearly drooping, and 4 like a transparent snake curling around her arm. Mom. Lin Yu gripped her mother's weak left hand. The same hand that used to knead perfect dough was now curled and trembling. Her mother opened her eyes slightly and murmured something. Lin Yu could only barely make out the word child. Erica's doing great, she leaned into her mother's ear. We brought her to see you. The attending doctor, a middle-aged man, spoke in a professional, detached tone. Second stroke, infarction in the right basal ganglia. Her condition is stable for now, but long-term rehabilitation will be necessary. Rehabilitation? What exactly does that involve? Lin Yu took notes in her journal. Acupuncture, physical therapy, speech training. The doctor flipped through her chart. But most importantly, family support. Stroke patients are prone to depression. Outside the office, Lin Yu leaned against the wall, suddenly dizzy. Tomorrow she was supposed to lead a major client meeting. Now she faced the painful decision of whether to take leave to care for her mother. Her phone buzzed. A message from her assistant. Final version of the presentation slides. She stared at the screen, her vision blurring. "Hey," Eric's warm hand pressed gently against her back. "Tell me what I can do." She turned and buried her face in his chest, tears soaking silently into his shirt. In that moment, she was no longer the poised career woman, just a scared daughter afraid of losing her mother. "I want to take 2 weeks off," she choked, "but the project's at a critical stage." "Then take the time," Eric stroked her hair. "Erica and I can move to Ningbo with you." "I looked it up. There's a good rehab center nearby." Linyu looked up at him. "What about your work?" "I'll request to work remotely." Eric wiped her tears. "My boss will understand. Family comes first." That sentence was like a key, unlocking something deep inside her. In Swedish culture, family comes first wasn't just a phrase, it was a lived truth. She suddenly remembered being sick as a child. Her mother would drop everything to care for her, while her father always said, "I'm busy, let your mom handle it." The next morning, Linyu requested leave from her boss, then returned alone to Shanghai to gather essentials. When she opened the door to their apartment, a strange feeling washed over her. Eric had already packed 3 suitcases. On the fridge, he had stuck a detailed checklist: Erica's snacks, copies of her mom's medical records, address of the Ningbo Rehab Center. This man who once couldn't even find his own socks was now methodically managing a family relocation. The rehabilitation center in Ningbo had a beautiful environment, but Linyu's mother made little progress. She refused to cooperate with the therapist and remained silent and withdrawn. Until the 3rd day, when Erica climbed onto her bed with a set of colored markers. "Grandma, teach me to draw a fish," the little girl said in a mix of Chinese and Swedish. "Daddy says you draw the best fish." A flicker of light returned to Lynn's mother's cloudy eyes. She took the marker with trembling fingers and on Erica's paper drew a wobbly fish. Erica cheered and immediately asked for a turtle, a crab, a shrimp. Without realizing it, she had completed the upper limb exercises the therapist had been trying to get her to do for days. "Children are the best medicine," a nurse whispered to Linyu. "Your mom finally has something to live for." That night, at a small inn near the hospital, Linyu and Eric sat down to discuss Erica's schooling. The deadline was next week. A decision had to be made. "I've thought about it." Linyu rubbed her temples, exhausted. "Maybe international school really does suit Erica better." Eric shook his head. "No, we need to reconsider. Your mom might need us in Ningbo long term, and the options here are limited. But public school competition is brutal." "I researched education in Ningbo." Eric opened his laptop. "This private bilingual school looks promising, blends Chinese and Western methods, and it's close to the rehab center." Linyu was stunned by the well-organized comparison chart on the screen. He'd even listed student-teacher ratios and extracurricular programs for each school. This man, who once scoffed at Chinese-style education, was now seriously studying how to find a balance between East and West. "When did you do all this?" "Last night after you fell asleep," Eric smiled. "I learned a Chinese phrase, yin di zi." Linyu's mother's condition gradually stabilized, but the doctor recommended at least 1 more month of inpatient rehabilitation. Linyu had to return to Shanghai to deal with a backlog of work, leaving Eric and Erica behind in Ningbo. Before she left, she unexpectedly saw Eric watching traditional Chinese medicine wellness videos on his phone. "What are you learning?" "Rehabilitation techniques from TCM." Eric looked a little sheepish. "Your mom said the Western physical therapy was too painful, so I thought I'd try learning Chinese massage." "I mean, I've got time anyway." Linyu suddenly remembered how her mother once mocked Eric, saying, "Foreigners don't understand filial piety." Yet now this foreign son-in-law was earnestly learning how to care for his mother-in-law using traditional Chinese methods. Life can be ironic sometimes. Back at the office, Linyu was immediately swept into a whirlwind. 2 weeks of absence meant she'd missed key project milestones. Her team had shifted directions without her knowledge. Worse still, President Chen seemed to be quietly minimizing her role in the project. "Ah, Dr. Lin is back," he said casually when they ran into each other in the elevator. "Everything settled at home?" His indifferent attitude stood in stark contrast to her experience in Sweden, where taking time off for family was met with understanding and support. Linyu suddenly realized, behind the famed efficiency of the Chinese workplace was a startling disregard for personal life. Friday night, she took the high-speed train back to Ningbo. Exhausted, she pushed open the rehab center door only to find a heartwarming scene. Eric sat by the bedside, reading the newspaper to her mother in clumsy Chinese. Erica was at a small table by the window, carefully tracing Chinese characters. And Lin Yu's mother, the same woman who once strongly opposed cross-cultural marriage, was teaching Eric how to make wonins, even though each one he made was oddly shaped. "You use back," her mother said, clearer in speech than the week before. "Eric's learning fast." That simple comment brought tears to Lin Yu's eyes. Her mother had never praised Eric to his face, not even when he moved the whole family to China. Over the weekend, Lin Yu took over caregiving duties so Eric could take Erica to an open house at the bilingual school. When they returned, Eric was animated as he described how the school blended Chinese and Western teaching methods, literacy and math in the mornings, project-based learning in the afternoons, structured handwriting practice alongside creative art classes. They even teach tea ceremony and calligraphy. Eric flipped through his phone photos. "Look, Erica wrote the character." Lin Yu looked at her daughter's proud smile in the photo and the lopsided character filled with childlike charm. Maybe education doesn't have to be either or, she thought. Just like her marriage, it was always about finding a third path between two cultures. On enrollment day, Lin Yu took the day off to accompany her daughter. The parent orientation was uniquely designed: first a traditional Chinese flag-raising ceremony, then a Western-style student exhibition. The biggest surprise was the performance section. Parents from different countries were invited to share something from their native cultures. "My daddy's going to recite a Tang poem," Erica proudly told every classmate she met. Lin Yu's eyes widened. "You what? Since when?" "Secret," Eric winked. "It's a surprise." When Eric stood at the center of the auditorium and recited Spring Morning in flawless Mandarin, the room fell silent for a moment, then erupted in applause. Even more impressively, he followed with a Swedish translation, explaining how different languages give poetry different shades of beauty. "Cultural differences aren't barriers," he concluded. "They're windows through which our children can see a broader world." Tears welled in Lin Yu's eyes as she joined the applause. This man who once claimed Chinese was too hard had now become a bridge between cultures. And the gleaming eyes of the mixed-race children below seemed to reflect a new possibility. They didn't have to choose between being Chinese or Swedish. They could be both. After the event, the principal personally approached them. "Mr. Johansson's performance was outstanding. We're forming an international parent committee. Would you both be interested in joining?" On the way back to the hospital, Lin Yu linked arms with Eric. "You know, you made me rethink a lot today about education, about identity, ... Me too." Eric kissed the top of her head. "Seeing all those mixed-race kids, I realized Erica doesn't need to choose a side. She can embrace both." Lin Yu's mother made faster progress than expected. When she managed to walk 10 steps on her own, the whole family, including the nurse, burst into applause. That night, Lin's mother took out a small embroidered pouch from under her pillow. You, Eric," she said with newly recovered clarity. "This is for you." Lin Yu opened the pouch to find a translucent jade bracelet, her grandmother's dowry, passed down to her mother. Lin Yu had seen it on her mother's wrist countless times growing up. "Mom, this is too precious, ... "Take it," her mother insisted. "My right hand isn't strong enough to wear it anymore. Give it to Erica or your second child if you have one." Lin Yu suddenly understood this wasn't just the passing on of a family heirloom. It was her mother's final silent blessing of their cross-cultural marriage. She turned teary-eyed to Eric and saw that his eyes, too, were red. "Thank you, Mom," he said solemnly in Mandarin. "I'll take good care of it and give it to Erica when she's grown." Her mother smiled, a rare moment of warmth. "Your Chinese has improved a lot." The day before her mother's discharge, Lin Yu received a call from President Chen. He asked if she'd consider taking on a project in Singapore. "It would require a 6-month residency," he added, "but it's a strong opportunity for promotion." In the past, Lin Yu would have said yes without hesitation. But now, watching her mother practicing with chopsticks and Eric gently braiding Erica's hair, she felt for the first time the tension between ambition and real happiness. "I'll need to discuss it with my family," she replied calmly. That evening, in their in-room, Lin Yu told Eric about the offer. To her surprise, Eric didn't oppose it immediately. "Singapore has great education," he said thoughtfully. "It's close to China, so we can still visit your mom. My company might even let me work remotely." "You mean ... you're open to the idea?" She asked in surprise. I'm just saying, don't automatically turn down an opportunity because of family. Eric mimicked her tone from months ago. If you really want this challenge, we'll find a way. It mirrored a conversation they'd had before moving to China, only this time, their roles were reversed. Winnie suddenly realized that true partnership is a dynamic balance. Sometimes one compromises, sometimes the other, but both always look for solutions together. Honestly, I'm not sure I want it anymore, she admitted. 6 months ago, I would have jumped at it. But now, after everything with Mom, I'm asking myself what really matters. Eric took her hand. Whatever you decide, we're with you. In the end, Lin Yu turned down the full-time Singapore offer but proposed to support the project through regular business trips instead of relocation. President Chen reluctantly agreed but hinted it might impact her promotion. It's worth it, she told Eric on the way home. Erica needs a stable environment. Mom still needs follow-ups. Some things matter more than titles. That weekend, they took Erica to her new school. As Lin Yu stood at the school gate watching her daughter bounce into her mixed classroom with excitement, she felt a rare sense of clarity. This place wasn't Sweden. Nor was it traditional China. It was a new world for Erica's generation, a space for global citizens. That night, as Lin Yu sorted documents in the study, she found a sticky note Eric had left on her laptop. No matter which path we take, we're a family, Sweden's snow, China's moonlight, and our aurora always together. Outside, Shanghai's night sky was unusually clear. There was no aurora but a bright moon hung high, illuminating this unexpected, harmonious home built from two cultures.